Notorious productive family, the Mississippi dynasty,
Hello
the
everyone,
prince of
third
King
time
Bad.
here with Misivi. I want to welcome you all again today. Today, I'm officially a decade in Canada. I initially came to Canada on April 22nd, 2014. So as of today that I'm shooting this video, I've been in Canada for a decade. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I could make a video to share my experiences about, you know, my 10 years in Canada. What are the good things? Like, what are the positive things? What are the negative things that you need to know about Canada? So, most of the people who are already in Canada would probably agree with me on most of these things. And for those people who are aspiring to come to Canada, these are some of the important things that you need to be aware of. You need to consider them really, really carefully before thinking about coming to Canada. So, without further ado, we'll just jump right into the stuff. So, I always love like start this kind of episodes with like the negative things, and then we're gonna close it up with the positive things. So, um, just to keep in mind, I'm just gonna be talking about like, let me see, four positive things and four negative things, right? And so you understand, it's like these are not the only positive things and or the negative things in Canada. There's a lot more in the whole scope where you know lots on lots of more positive things about Canada, and there's lots and lots of more negative things about Canada. I want to focus on these because these are the main things that if you're already in Canada, you're probably already feeling them. And if you're aspiring to come to Canada, as soon as you hit the airport or however you get into Canada, whether you came in through a submarine, came in through a ship, or whatever, however you got here, day one, you're gonna be feeling them as soon as you get here. So we are going to jump into the negative thing. So on the top priority of the negative, like the negative things in Canada, I would like to share will be education. Education in Canada. Like for most people, the easiest way to come to Canada is to come through like applying for a study permit. So coming here like to study, but that doesn't mean that the education system is good, right? They'll teach you everything in school, but what you actually need to survive, right? If you look at also a recent study that says approximately 80%, if not more, of people who come to Canada to study end up never working in the field in which they did study. This is just to tell you that the education system is actually broken, right? It's not like there's no jobs or whatever, but imagine spending 4 or 5 years in school just to end up realizing, you know what, maybe this was not for me. I have to do something else. Or worst case scenario, there's not even jobs available for you after you finish studying. I think that a lot of people who are coming to Canada for different reasons are living in different places because there's no jobs and all the different things. So education is one of the big things in Canada that is really broken. But it's been advertised to people in a way that they just don't understand, right? You need to be here, you need to have gone through the education system to be able to tell that like, the education system is not as good, right? Just as other places, but it's one of the things when you come here, it costs a lot to study in Canada. Canada is like one of the most expensive places you can go to school in. So it could really cost a lot for the amount of money that you're paying for the education that you're getting. I don't think it's as worth it. But that's one of the things that you need to consider. The reasons why I said education first is because this is gonna build the foundation of everything that I'll probably be talking about, right? Education is the key to everything. Once you know, right? Once you know these things, it's very, very important. Your life can be more structured. So that's why I brought in education first. The second thing on the list that I want to talk about will be the high cost of living standard in Canada. Over the past 10 years that I've been here, from day one until now, I'm probably sure the living standard has gone, I think, triple, quadruple. It's so expensive here now, whether it's housing, like rent, food, like traveling, insurance, everything, the price is double. So if you're aspiring to come to Canada, you need to make accommodations for this. You need to be aware of this the high cost of living standards in Canada. It's crazy. You need to do a lot of research. And for those people already in Canada, I'm probably sure you're already feeling this like to your bones, And I understand sometimes people now are working two, three, four jobs just to, just to be able to keep up. The next thing also that you wanna pay attention to is the weather. In Canada, we have four seasons, which is like the winter, the summer, spring, and the falls. Now, depending on where or what province you're going to, so say you're going to like the province of Alberta, where you have Calgary and mountains further up north. It's way much colder there, so you're gonna experience more harsher winters up there. So you need to be aware of that. If you're going there, if you're coming from the tropic zones like Africa, South America, you need to be aware of that because it's gonna be like a really harsh change in your kind of typical weather. But you should be able to make it. People who come from these other countries have like a really, really, just mindset, and so I'm not really worried about them a lot. But you just need to be aware about that. If you're going like further west, like that's to like British Columbia, Vancouver, the weather there's way more better. I don't think they have that harsh winter there. Like they really barely do not have snow. I don't even think they have a lot. And but they have a lot more rain, and I think that's because of the east coast wind from the sea. If you're going further east, so that would be Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec. Way more. In fact, good luck. It's way much colder there. It's difficult there. Whatever. Now, if you're coming south now to Ontario, which is the biggest province, it's way much better here, but it's still colder, than most other places that you could have been, like in the States or wherever. But it's way much like the weather there's average. You have some some rainfalls, some snow, not as bad. But over the past decade, you could tell it's really changed, right? We don't have like the harsh winters anymore. Like the winters when I just came here the first year, the second year that I came here, we had really, really harsh winters. And right now it's like even the winter is still that warm, minus 10, minus 15. That's as much as we're having this past winter, right? But why in the past, like when I just arrived here, it was like minus 30, minus 40, and you have several winter storms throughout the winter period. So also keep in mind what locations you're going to be like moving to if you want to stay there. If you're trying to come to Canada, that will help you prepare your mind and how to be in those environments. Um, the other one thing I want to talk, right? This is like one of the biggest thing. It will make you or break you in Canada is taxes. I think Canada is one of the highest countries in which you're going to be paying taxes, or one of the highest countries in the world that you're being paid taxes. So, to put it into perspective, so you understand what I'm saying, right? If you're working, you get paid, you get taxed. Now, you take that money of which you have been taxed from your job, right? You buy clothes, you get taxed. You buy food, you get taxed. You buy insurance, you get taxed. You buy air ticket, you get taxed. You buy whatever, you get taxed. Now, the worst case scenario, and if you have to apply this into real logic, is if let's say you buy a pair of shoes and you do not like it for some reasons, you want to resell it. Actually, the government actually expects you to charge for taxes on that shoes and pay it to the government. Now, it's not very practical, but that's how it is. So it's really bad. The tax system in Canada is extremely poor, But I kind of understand why it's done that way. It's like a socialist class, where we are being charged for the tax to pay for people the old people, like their pensions and taking care of those other things. And so then the people who are gonna come behind us, which will be some of the guys that are, aspiring to come to Canada, you guys will be taxed to pay for us when we get old, you know. And so that cycle, that's the kind of cycle. But again, I'm not a tax expert, but that's kind of the little understanding I have. There's way, way more details about it. And one of the big things you have to take into consideration is if you're gonna survive in Canada, you must learn how to reduce your tax. Or I starting a business. There are many ways, but you need to seek, people who are like expert in the tax field. Okay. So with that said, these are the four main important things I think that are really negative about Canada. There are way other things that you can also consider, but these are the four main things that as soon as you get into Canada, it start hitting you from day one. So you need to consider all those factors really important. Now we're gonna jump into like the good things, right? Things that are interesting about Canada. Like I could go on and on and on and on about this particular side of it, but I'm just gonna say four things as well that you really have to put into perspective. Once you're looking at the negative things, you have to also look at the positive things in order for you to make a better decision if Canada is the place where you want to stay for those who are already here, because there's tons and tons of people living in Canada. And if you're aspiring to come to Canada, it's also in your position to make a good decision if this is the place where you want to come. There are other places where you can go, what is the States. But if you make an informed decision based on, hey, these are the negative things here, these are the positive things here, and I can capitalize on them, then you can make a more informed decision which is going to benefit you. So first things first will be the Canadian immigration process, right? The Canadian immigration process is probably one of the most friendliest immigration process of all. Now, I've applied to people to come to Canada, to go to the States, to go to Europe, a lot of countries, South America. Like I've done a lot of application of people, and I know for sure Canada has one of the most friendliest immigration processes. Now, the only thing you need to know about the only thing that's a problem about it is that some of the immigration processes are really, really long. They can take so much time, and if you don't fill in your applications properly, you don't have some of the right documents, it could really, really take long. I know of people's application are 5 years, 6 years into the system and just lingering there just because there's something missing, and it really, really takes enough, like so much effort to get it done. So that's one of the things that you need to kind of pay attention to. So I don't think that it's really a hard process in the whole immigration system. I will be doing a separate video talking about more about some immigration. So I'm not an immigration expert, but I do understand. Like when I came here to school, part of what I used to do as a side hustle was to apply for people for immigration programs, whether it's express entry, coming here for school, work permits. I used to like the system even online. Once you go to the Canadian immigration system, it's pretty much easy, step by step. They're asking for this document, you need to submit this. It's not like the US where you have to do everything, go for an interview, and somebody looks at you and say no. The Canadian immigration system is more about documentation, compile your documentation, send it in paper or send it online. So again, that's one of the most things. The reasons why I'm saying this is because a lot of people who are already watching this document want to come to Canada or either have family in Canada, you know, and so it's always important that you understand that. So this is one of the benefits or one of the things you find very friendly about Canada. Inviting family, friends, it's way much easier than other places. The second thing I want to talk about is safety. Canada is like ranked like probably maybe the third safest country in the world. Even if it's not the third, it's like really up there, right? So Canada is a country of law and order. Most of the time, a lot of people who are coming into Canada, like which again, like thousands and thousands, millions and millions of people coming to Canada, they're fleeing from a lot of conflicts, around the world. People from Ukraine, people from the Middle East, people from Africa. They are fleeing from a lot of conflicts, persecution, religious persecution. So it's pretty much safe here. There's a lot of more liberty here. So a lot of these things, people are like coming to Canada because of this. There's a lot of law and order here. A lot of things are like procedure. So it's fair to say that Canada is pretty safe if you wanted to come over here. The next thing on the list I also want to talk about, it's the healthcare system in Canada. Canada has a very good healthcare system. It's not the best. I think that there are other places in the world where the healthcare system is like better. But again, to put it there, Canada is like on the top of that list. A lot of people nowadays are suffering from heart complications, depression, all those things. Canada has not just the healthcare system is good, but part of the reasons why people pay a lot of taxes, as I said before, about the negative things about Canada is because the government covers basic healthcare, right? So basic things like going to see the doctor and all those things, the hospital, the government covers that. So not for everybody. You have to be like a resident. You have to be in Canada for a certain time to apply for like a health card to be able to reap the benefits of that. So it's not just like you get into day one and you just have access to that. If you come into Canada, you most likely have to pay for your own insurance just to reduce that cost, because going to the hospital here, it's crazy. You do not want to do that if you do not have insurance. it's really, really expensive, especially like, I remember coming here as an international student. Part of the thing that like you would spend a lot of money is going to the hospital buying medication. It's really, really expensive. So the government takes it as the government, part of the system, the government pays for this, right? And it varies from province to province. So if you go to Quebec, it's a little bit different. Ontario is different. So province to province, but they have like a basic universal healthcare within Canada, which is good. And the last thing about that I want to talk about when it comes to the positive things about Canada would be like the community, right? Canada is very, very multicultural. Like there's people from everywhere. I bet if you came from anywhere, there's someone who's here. Like there's a community. Let me not say there's someone, but there's like a community from the place where you came, right? There's definitely gonna be a community, even if it's not in the province where you are, but somewhere there should be a community where you are. So because of that, it's like it's really, really welcoming to people. Like people enjoy when they have people from their community. They can have community gatherings, social gatherings with the people from the same area where they come from. So this is really nice. And think about Canada as well as when I'm talking about communities. People like you, like if I were to put it, I say you'd find most of like the most welcoming people in Canada. I don't think there's any place else in the world where people are so welcoming, they're gonna go out of their way just to help you. Like this is that part of the world where people are just so helpful, right? They will go out of their way to help you, give you the information that you need. They would basically do all this for free, like just to help you. Canadians are so nice, you know. But that culture is kind of shifting a little bit. I could start telling the difference from when I came back here up to now. The fact that we're having so many people coming to Canada at a so rapid rate, it's like, that kind of culture shifts a lot because then there's a lot of different ideologies that people bring into the communities. You get to meet a lot of newcomers here, and they're not just aware of that kind of mentality, especially from where they come. So you can see some kind of differences there. But in overall, you could still tell like people here are generally very nice. Um, so in order for me to conclude, I'll just want to say that Canada probably offers one of the best life qualities, right? I've not been out there living in so many other countries. I've been to the States a lot, been to some part of Africa, been to some part of South America, but again, um, uh, I've not lived in these other places, but again, some of these informations you can read online, basically looking at the statistics of like what are the positive things about these countries. Like when you want to travel to a country, part of the job or part of the things that you have to do is to read about the country. What's there? Is there war going on there? What's the security state of the country? All these little things you have to put them in perspective. Once you put them in perspective, you can make a more informed decision about going there, what you are to expect, and kind of stuff. So I think that with that, I just want to conclude that Canada is probably one of the best countries if you're gonna make the choice to go somewhere, right? If you're coming from Africa, you like Canada is probably one of the choice that you wanna really, really consider. It's immigration friendly. The people are nice. You can really do well here. It's not easy, like anywhere else in the world. It's not as easy, but you can really, really do extremely well if you come here. You put your mind to it. There's lots and lots of opportunity. Like I'm not saying it's easy, but if you come here, put your head to it, work hard, I'm pretty sure you're gonna reap off the benefits. I just recently become a citizen of Canada, and I'm really happy to be part of this country. So I try my best to give information where I can and to help where I can. I have already probably integrated as much as I can into the society, and right now I'm looking for more adventures and more places to go. I got a passport now. Nothing's limiting me. When we come from Africa, most of the time our passports are very limited to the places we can go. But now with the Canadian passport, trust me, it's as easy as ABC. That's one of the benefits you also want. You want that passport because it's like the key, the gateway to like all the doors you cannot open. Thank you guys. If you have any questions about what I've been saying, you can leave it in the comment. You can text, you can like DM me. I'm probably sure I'm gonna respond. And hey, have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.